She had been preparing for this moment for 3 years. Every qualification earned. Every relationship built. Every late night and early morning that nobody saw but her, all of it had been moving toward this. And now that the moment was actually here, standing in front of her with the door open, she was paralyzed. Because stepping through that door meant being visible. It meant being wrong in public if she was wrong. It meant trading the safety of almost for the risk of actually. And somewhere underneath all of that, the fear she had not said out loud to anyone, was this. What if I step forward and it turns out I was never really chosen for this at all? What if the door opens and I walk through and everyone discovers I was never meant to be here? She was standing at a crossroads between safety and the thing she was made for. She did not know it yet. But a woman who lived 4,000 years before her had stood at the same crossroads. With infinitely more at stake. And what she chose, and what God did with her choice, is the reason this video exists. Her name was Esther. And the door she was standing at was not an office. It was the entrance to the throne room of the most powerful king on earth. And the law said that anyone who entered without being summoned, anyone, including the queen, would be put to death. Unless the king chose to extend his golden scepter. Esther had not been summoned. And her people, every Jewish person living under Persian rule, were about to be annihilated. And she was the only person alive who had any chance of stopping it. Safety on one side. The thing she was made for on the other. This is her story. Esther's story does not begin in a palace. It begins with loss. Both of her parents died when she was young. She was raised by her older cousin Mordecai, a Jewish man living as a minority in a foreign empire, who loved her as his own daughter. When King Ahasuerus of Persia, the most powerful ruler in the known world, chose a new queen, Esther was taken into the selection process. Not by her own ambition. Not by her own plan. She was taken. And she was chosen. Above every woman in the empire. The orphan Jewish girl became queen of Persia, but Mordecai had told her to keep her identity hidden. Do not tell anyone you are Jewish. And so Esther lived a double life, queen on the surface, a woman with a secret underneath. A secret that, if revealed, could cost her everything. She had been placed in an extraordinary position. She had not placed herself there. That distinction matters. Because when the moment of purpose arrived, Esther would have to decide whether the position she had been given was a gift for her comfort, or an assignment for something far larger than herself. There was a man in the king's court named Haman. And Haman hated Mordecai, because Mordecai, as a Jewish man, would not bow to him. Haman's response to one man's refusal to bow was to request the annihilation of an entire people. He went to the king. He said there was a group of people in the empire whose customs were different, who did not follow the king's laws. He did not name them. He simply asked permission to destroy them all. And the king agreed. A decree went out across the entire Persian Empire. On a specific date, every Jewish man, woman, and child was to be killed. Mordecai heard it. He tore his clothes. He sat in the city square in sackcloth and wept. And then he sent a message to Esther. Go to the king. Beg for your people's lives. And Esther sent back the only honest answer she had. Everyone in the palace knows that going to the king unsummoned means death. I have not been called in 30 days. I cannot go. The safety of her position against the lives of her people. The crossroads had arrived, and it was not what she expected it to look like. Mordecai sent one more message. And what he wrote is the sentence that has outlasted the entire Persian Empire. Do not think that because you are in the king's house you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place. But you and your father's family will perish. And then the line that has been spoken over every generation of people standing at exactly this crossroads ever since, and who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this. Mordecai was not asking Esther to be brave for its own sake. He was asking her to consider the possibility that her entire life, the loss of her parents, the years with Mordecai, the unlikely journey from orphan to queen, had not been a series of accidents. That it had been a preparation. That the position she was trying to protect was never given to her for her own comfort. It was given to her for this moment. Who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Back in the modern corridor, the woman with her hand almost on the door handle, that sentence was written for her too. It was written for everyone who has ever stood at the edge of the thing they were made for and wondered if they were really supposed to be there at all. Before she went, Esther did one thing. She fasted. For 3 days. She asked all the Jewish people in the city to fast with her. No food, no water, 3 days. And then she said the sentence that deserves to be engraved somewhere permanent: if I perish, I perish. She was not pretending the fear was gone. She was not claiming the outcome was guaranteed. She was simply saying, the cost of going is possible death. The cost of not going is certain betrayal of everything I was placed here to be. And between those two costs, I choose the one that is worth it. On the third day Esther put on her royal robes. She walked to the inner court of the palace. She stood where the king could see her from his throne. And she waited. The king looked up. He saw her standing there uninvited, in the place where appearing uninvited meant death. And the text says, he was pleased with her. He extended the golden scepter. She crossed the threshold. What she did next, the strategy, the 2 banquets, the way she revealed Haman's plot, is a masterclass in wisdom and courage that we could spend hours on. But the pivotal moment, the moment the entire story turned on, was not the banquets. It was not the revelation. It was the 3 steps she took from the corridor into the throne room after 3 days of fasting and the words, if I perish, I perish. The moment she stopped protecting the position and stepped into the purpose. Esther's people were saved. Haman was exposed. The decree was reversed. A woman who began as an orphan with nothing ended as the person whose courage preserved an entire people. And the book of Esther, remarkably, never once mentions the name of God. Not in a single verse. He is never named. But his fingerprints are on every page. In every coincidence. In every open door. In the exact placement of an orphaned girl in the exact position at the exact moment when her presence was the only thing that could change everything. The woman in the modern corridor finally opened the door. I don't know what was waiting on the other side for her. I don't know what is waiting on the other side for you. But I know this. You were not placed where you are by accident. The loss that shaped you, the years that prepared you, the position you are standing in right now, none of it was random. You have come to this moment for such a time as this. And the question Mordecai asked Esther 4,000 years ago is the same question this channel is asking you right now. Who knows whether you have not come to exactly where you are, for exactly this moment. The door is open. The scepter has been extended. All that remains is the walk. Before we close, I want to pray something with you. Not for you. With you. If you are standing at a crossroads right now, if there is something you have been called to that you have been circling without entering, pray this in your own words, in your own voice, wherever you are watching this. You do not have to be ready. Esther was not ready. You just have to be willing. God. I do not fully understand why I am where I am. I do not feel qualified for what seems to be in front of me. I am more aware of what I lack than what I carry. But I am choosing today to consider the possibility that where I am standing is not an accident. That what I have been through was not wasted. That the door in front of me was not placed there randomly. Give me the courage of Esther. Not the absence of fear, she was afraid. But the willingness to move anyway. To choose the purpose over the protection. To take the walk even when the outcome is not guaranteed. Who knows whether I have not come to this moment for such a time as this. I am choosing to believe that I have. And I am taking the first step. Amen.